What's going on YouTube? So the GLC has long been one of Mercedes' best-selling models and a top choice in the compact luxury SUV segment. And for 2025, it is adding more with this new plug-in hybrid with over 50 miles of range. So, did Mercedes just raise the bar in the class? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's get things started here under the hood. Now this of course is where the difference begins, because we now have, again, that new plug-in hybrid model, the GLC 350e. This is composed of a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with a 24.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, and our total system power is 313. It's going to be routed to the ground via all-wheel drive and a 9-speed automatic transmission. And then our range on this model is coming in an extremely impressive 54 miles.
Now we can't wait to take this out in a spin and show you what this new plug-in hybrid is capable of. While we're on that drive, we'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, and then after that discussing resale and reliability.
But before we get into any of that stuff, let's go ahead and close up the hood, take a look at the exterior as well as the interior. Now as far as the exterior is concerned, we do continue on with the latest Mercedes design language. This is the plug-in hybrid version, but it does not give you any types of design indication of that different powertrain under the hood. Now, as far as what we have on today's model, we have the available AMG line. So that's going to substitute out your standard grille for this version, which is a little bit sportier. It's got those kind of diamond finish here in the center and your gigantic Mercedes logo up top, a little bit of chrome down here at the bottom as well. Let's also talk about our lighting. So we do have standard full LED lights, as you'd expect. These are reflector LEDs as standard equipment. You can also get the digital light system, so that has really cool projection abilities as well as adaptive abilities on board. And here on the driver's side, this is where your charge port is going to be. Just want to show you guys what that looks like real fast. Now, as far as the back design, of course, you've got that signature Mercedes design on board. Having the plug-in hybrid really doesn't change that overall look at all.
Which I think is a good thing. This GLC is a very good-looking SUV. Now, as far as some of the design elements, we have a spoiler up top as well as a wiper. We do, of course, have 350e branding, and then Drew's hopping inside to see if all the taillight elements are LED. So as you can see, we do have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, and an LED amber turn signal indicator. Of course, because this is in its electric mode right now, you hear that little beeping noise. And then down at the bottom, this is going to be comprised of some matte black as well as some chrome trim. 3,500 pounds is your tow rating.
Now moving on to your wheels, as you expect from Mercedes, you have a ton of different options. This is our AMG line 20-inch alloy wheel. It's the multi-spoke with the contrast finish. I think it looks really, really nice. This is one of my favorite wheel designs on this model. I do want to point out something new for 2025. Across the lineup, you can now get an AMG Lite package as an LITE, and that just gives you the wheels and the spoiler without the special finishes on the front end. You've got some new colors for 2025, and as far as our mirrors, these are going to have all the features. So they have blind spot monitoring, heating, auto dimming, and power folding.
Now at the side of the GLC, we have an overall vehicle length of about 186 inches, and for design, most of it's going to be a nice chrome look. Down here at the bottom, we do have a little bit of a matte black. I wish this was body color on the AMG line. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, in typical Mercedes fashion, you get 2 out of 4 of them as standard equipment. Additionally, they do offer a driver's assistance package, which will add in an insane amount of safety features, so you might want to check that box off. But guys, let's go ahead and check out the luxurious cabin. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's move on to the interior. First, here's our Mercedes key fob. This is one of my favorite key fobs in the entire auto industry. It just has such a solid feel, all made of this beautiful metal trim. Of course, you do have a standard smart entry system. You can also remote start via the Mercedes Me app. And then as far as getting inside the vehicle, just reach behind the handle that will unlock the door and fold the mirrors outward. Now, taking a look at the interior, this is obviously, it was a fully redesigned model a short time ago, so the overall design is going to stay the same for 2025. Before we get into the specific details of all the features that you have on board, let's begin things with our seats. So just like most Mercedes models, this does begin with the MB Tex. That is a synthetic leather, and that's what we have on today's example. Overall, feels pretty realistic. As you can see, you've got a lot of perforation and stitching details. We also have some nice bolsters here to hold you in place. And the seats themselves are highly, highly adjustable as well. So standard is a 16-way power adjustment. And as you can see, of course, you can do that over there on the door trim with those controllers. You also have memory seats, and heating is included as a standard feature as well. And by the way, you can, of course, get real leather and Napa leather if you want to spend a little bit of extra money. But let's go ahead and get inside. Now that I'm inside and closed up the door, let's get into the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on our door trim, we've got a leatherette covering. We also have that all along the top here with a stitching detail. Going to the upper dashboard, this is all finished in the MB Tex leatherette with the stitching details. Then through the center section, we have generous use of a beautiful open pour wood. As you can see, it kind of waterfalls down all around the console area. Down here on the console itself, this is finished in today's model in a piano black. You can substitute out this material if you prefer. Let's go ahead and start it up with our push button start. And now everything is all fired up, so let's get into some individual details. First of all, we'll begin with our gauge cluster. Just like pretty much all the Mercedes models, we've got a 12.3-inch digital cluster on board, fully reconfigurable, but you will notice it has a slightly different look here to the gauges because it is, of course, the plug-in hybrid. You can still reconfigure it to a lot of different designs as well. We don't have the head-up display on today's model. It is available with the Pinnacle trim level. We have standard rain-sensing wipers, and as far as the steering wheel, as you can see, we've got the AMG line steering wheel on board. Beautiful look to this. It's nice and flat-bottomed, and we also have standard power tilt and telescoping as well as heating. Now moving on to interior storage. Open up our console here, and you'll notice inside we've got some donuts. That's because the Car Confections, we put donuts in the center console and check the volume. In this case, we can fit 10 donuts, which is a pretty good number for a vehicle in this class. I believe it is the same as what you have in an X3, for instance. If we slide back this piece of piano black, we have a couple cup holders inside. These are reconfigurable, and you also have your wireless phone charging pad back there. Now, as far as the shifter is concerned, you have the newest version of Mercedes electronic style, just pull down for drive. We have paddles on the back of the steering wheel, and if we go into reverse, so long as you have the parking assistance package, you will get this 360-degree camera system. Now, Mercedes always does a really good job with the graphics, and that's especially present when you go into this 3D view. You can begin to spin all around the vehicle and see this in just an incredible level of detail. It's overall just super, super nice. And then press the end of the stalk there for park. You do also have an electronic parking brake. Now, of course, a big part of the cabin is right here with our kind of display panel that floats up and out of there. Down on the blower panel, you got some touch sensor controls for a lot of different things. This is your drive mode controller. You also have a fingerprint reader. And then right next to that, you have your volume slider for the audio system. So we have a 15-speaker Burmester premium sound system on board, and let's give that a sample right now. Yeah, overall sound quality of this system is excellent. Really fills up the cabin nicely. And Burmester also has some of the most beautiful speaker grills. I love the detail that they have in those metal ones. Okay, now taking our attention up here to the display. This measures in at 11.9 inches. The lower part of the display is allocated to your climate controls primarily. So it's a dual zone automatic setup as standard on this model. Temperature adjustment, super easy. You have a few more controls that you can access by going into the climate menu. Now, as far as the display itself, like I said, 11.9 inches. This is running, though, for 2025, a newer version of MBUX. This is the 3rd generation system. So you'll just notice overall really snappier performance. Everything just works a little bit better than it did before. You still have wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all the things you want. You also have augmented reality navigation available. And this is what our built-in mapping looks like. Up top, we have an auto dimming mirror. HomeLink remotes are built into the bottom of it. If I swipe back on that touch-sensitive pad, that will go ahead and slide back the sunshade for our panoramic sunroof. This is an available option on most GLC models. And as you can see, the piece of glass is very, very large. Also, the front panel does open up.
Now let's dive into the GLC's rear seat area. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about space first. So we're looking at really good space figures, about 37.4 inches of legroom, 39.6 inches of headroom, so nearly 40 inches of headroom. That means even people that are taller will fit back here pretty much with ease. Now, I'm 5'9" for reference, and this seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". One of the things we do in all of our Car Confections reviews is get a knee measure, and we're looking at about 7 inches of additional knee room. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat really easily, and as you can see, it is lighted. It also has some really cool ambient lighting at nighttime. Now, if we fold down the center armrest, you have a little slot right there. If you push it again, that will actually reveal 2 large cup holders. These are big enough to fit a Stanley water bottle. And then as far as other features, we have vents here in the center. However, we are missing out on climate controls as well as USB ports on this model that we have today. I do believe those are available features, but no climate controls, and also it's just going to be a blank piece right there. Now, as far as the door trim, let's go ahead and take a look at that. It's going to be really nice, just like the front. We have a full leatherette on the upper part, this floating panel that has ambient lighting, leather on the armrest portion, and then as far as the door storage, once again, quite large. Here's my Stanley water bottle. These are quite big and fits in there, no problems whatsoever. Now, as far as the seat itself, I do want to point out it's not going to slide at all. Now, of course, walking up to the tailgate area, we have a power hands-free tailgate. And let's talk about the space in the GLC. So, as far as all the other models, we're sitting at 24 cubic feet behind the second row seats at a maximum of 56 cubic feet. Now, this is the plug-in hybrid variant. So, as you'll see, the floor actually kind of slopes upward, and that's because the battery pack is stored back here. So we don't have official numbers from Mercedes-Benz just yet on the plug-in hybrid. However, we do expect that to be slightly less, although not drastically less. If you ask me, probably around 50 cubic feet as a maximum would be what you're looking at. Now, over here on the side, I'm very happy to tell you have these little switches that will actually release the seats and allow them to fully fold down. At the press of a button, that's actually something that the GLE doesn't have. Very happy to see that. And let's also get our cargo length, width, and height figures, because this is a Car Confections review after all. If you're looking to haul something specifically, you have 75 inches of cargo length behind the driver's seat, adjusted to someone who's 5'8", about 40 inches behind the second row. As far as the cargo opening, 43 inches wide, and then cargo height comes in about 27 inches. So you're going to sacrifice a little bit on the cargo height because the floor is taller. Now, underneath it here, you have a tiny bit of storage, but it's not going to be much at all. Keep that in mind. And then this is your charging cable. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the new Mercedes GLC 350e. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration so you can see what this plug-in hybrid is all about. Nice.
All right, that was above 60 miles per hour. So, like we were talking about at the spec dump, in addition to, the obvious benefits that a plug-in hybrid has, it does also have more power than that traditional GLC 300. So you have the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, but you also have a substantial battery pack with your electric motors, and that produces 313 total system horsepower. So that is about, what is that, like 75 horsepower more, thereabouts?
Yeah, so, yeah. Really good math estimation there. 255 horsepower on the GLC 300, which is what most of them are. And then if you choose this, it's 313 horsepower. The torque, though, is over a 100 pound-feet torque advantage over the GLC 300. That model comes in at 295, and this one is 406 pound-feet of torque. So one of the great things about having electrification, of course, is the fact that you get that instantaneous torque from having that battery pack. So certainly, I think this thing feels much faster than the GLC 300, and I really loved that acceleration there.
Yeah, we just did that in hybrid drive mode. That's kind of your default drive mode. So you'll be in electric mode most of the time, like we are right now. However, if you really put your foot all the way down, it'll go ahead and get that engine on. That way you can get maximum power.
Now, as far as how big the battery pack is on this, it's going to be a 24.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, which is a good size, which is why it's able to achieve that really good range figure, which we'll talk about in just a second.
So this is an acceleration in the electric drive mode that just keeps it completely in electric power. And one of the nice things about this plug-in hybrid is that your electric motors are really quite powerful. 134 horsepower, which makes it really easy to drive around in electric mode, because like keeping up with traffic here, according to the car, I'm only using half of my potential EV power. So I'm leaving plenty on the table and keeping up with traffic super easily.
Yeah, which is, of course, very useful, because you heard us talk about it at the very beginning, but how much all-electric range are you going to get on this GLC? Well, it's 54 miles, excuse me, not 34, 54 miles of all-electric range, which I think has to be one of the longest range plug-in hybrids that you can get on the market right now. That is absolutely incredible range figures. When we got in the vehicle this morning, it said it was a 93% state of charge, and I think it was showing 55 miles of range on the vehicle. So certainly awesome that you have that much range. Most people are not going to be commuting that far in a day, so you could certainly keep it as basically a full electric vehicle most of the time, and then if you're going on a long road trip, kick into the gas engine.
Right, and as far as its main competitors, that number dominates them.
Now, just cruising down the highway here, I want to take a second to discuss ride quality. The GLC has always had good ride quality, and this 350e is no exception whatsoever. You're going to have very comfortable ride. Additionally, I do want to point out here on this model, you have a self-leveling suspension that is standard equipment on every GLC 350. The seats are also quite comfortable as well, so I'm very happy with the overall ride.
Okay, I went into sport mode. We'll get an acceleration like this as well. Very nice. Yeah. This is certainly quite quick.
That is really
This is a good middle ground, between the standard and the AMG models. But let's go back to the standard setting here and get our sound level reading.
Yeah. On 1. Very nice. 54.7 decibels is our official sound level reading for the new GLC 350e. I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to the competition, though. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings and see how it compares. And unsurprisingly, that does place it as one of the quietest vehicles in the entire segment. Actually, the 2024 GLC 300 that we test out is the quietest vehicle in the compact luxury SUV segment. This one's going to come in a little bit louder. However, keep in mind that there are certain options that you can get on every single model that kind of affects your reading ever so slightly. I would expect this one to actually be a little quieter than the 300 just because the engine was not even on for that sound level reading. So definitely expect to find a quiet cabin in this GLC.
Now, as I accelerated there, I do want to mention that we've got a 9-speed automatic transmission. Haven't mentioned it up until this point because it really blends into the background. It's a nice partner to this powertrain. It never really has seemed confused or anything like that as we've been driving it along today. And like I said, just buttery smooth. You really can't even feel the gear shifts, no matter which mode you're in.
You do have the option of rear drive on the GLC 300. It is 4MATIC all-wheel drive standard on this 350 model. And let me go ahead and talk about fuel economy. So for those of you that are wanting just the regular 300 model, you get really good fuel economy. 28 miles per gallon combined for the rear drive version, 26 mpg for the GLC 300 4MATIC. Now, if you're curious as to what the fuel economy is on this model, if you forget to charge it or run completely out of battery, it is 25 miles per gallon combined. So it is actually less than the GLC 300 4MATIC if you are not using the battery at all. However, this is a plug-in hybrid, so you should probably plug it in and you can go up to 54 miles on a full charge. All right, now let's get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Air Ball. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
Slam Dunk's going to be short and simple here. Just the range on this model. That's going to outlast pretty much anything else on the market, especially the direct competition. In some cases, this has like twice as much range, so that's super impressive. Yeah.
On the Airball side of things, one thing we do wish about this is that it qualified for the tax credit. Unfortunately, it does not if you just outright purchase it. Now, of course, there are definitely a lot of different things that, can happen, lease specials, whatnot. I'm not an expert in the field, so you may be able to take advantage of that tax credit if you lease the vehicle. I'm not exactly sure at this point, but at least from a purchasing side of things, right now you are not eligible for that tax credit. So it does make this as a more expensive option than a regular GLC 300. Lastly, as far as your warranty is concerned, we have a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic and powertrain warranty. Mercedes does not do complimentary maintenance. And now let's discuss pricing. So we start a touch under $50,000 for the GLC 300 rear drive version. Now, if you want the 4MATIC, that's going to cost a little bit extra. And then we also have the 350e, which starts a touch under $60,000. Now, this particular tester you see today has quite a few options, not all of them, though. Around $71,000 is what you can expect out of this model. Now, if you're looking to buy a GLC or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original price, so let's discuss resale and reliability. So let's start things out with resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this GLC's potential resale. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 41.1% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 17% of original MSRP. Now, it's worth noting that it is very much on par with other German luxury brands such as BMW and Audi. However, it is going to be lower than Japanese luxury brands like Lexus and Acura, and below industry average.
Now, I've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Mercedes is rated just below the overall industry average on reliability for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale and reliability rankings, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to wrap up one of the first reviews of this new Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get the latest car reviews such as this, you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. So go ahead, subscribe. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.